Ho ho! I'm definitely not getting this out on time. From the director of Black Adam comes Carry On, a movie about a TSA agent who has his loved ones threatened by a group of criminals. They want to sneak a nerve agent onto a plane so they can kill a congresswoman and blame it on the Russians. If I spoiled that for you, why are you watching a video about a movie you had planned to watch? You didn't have to click on this video, but you need to stay on it, or else I won't get paid as much. Did I mention that I have a membership option? Ding. Or whatever. The movie stars the guy from Kingsman. He's got a name, and I know it, but calling him that will set up the next joke. It's also got the guy from Arrested Development.
I don't know what I expected.
The opening of the film has a cover of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, because this is a Christmas movie. Every holiday season, millions travel safely by air. This Christmas will not be the same, it'll be a little different, it'll go down in a not-so-traditional fashion. It opens with a badass scene of Jason Bateman killing some people he's doing a deal with. I know the best way to get me attached to a villain is for them to kill two people for no reason. It is actually the reason why he loses in the end, because a police officer notices that a fucking building was burnt down, two people died, and one was shot in the chest.
Burn pattern suggests some type of accelerant. Nephew was shot dead before the fire.
And these two are such staples in the crime community that the main suspects are directly ruled out because it wouldn't make sense to kill such good assets.
Oleg's been steady for years, reliable for them. Why would his Russian buddies kill him now?
So this guy, whose introduction is him pointlessly killing people, is the big bad villain who we're supposed to think is a super genius the whole movie. You know, they've prepared well, they know the shifts, they've hacked the computers, they've got motherfuckers breaking into other people's homes, it's a tight operation, and it makes sense initially. This whole preparedness effect is almost entirely undone by that opening scene. A thing that you'll notice as this video goes on, this movie has a real problem with contrivance. Next, we're introduced to Taron Egerton's character, Ethan Kopech. He has a girlfriend, and they have no chemistry.
I mean, you checked the mail so many times, you knew the mailman by name.
I always knew Harry. Like that.
It is such performative, fake chemistry, and I guess that's alright, because, you know, it's a performance, I'm aware this is a movie, but it's annoying. Luckily, they barely talk for the rest of the film.
It was like you could see a future, and you couldn't wait for it.
Yeah, that's generally how anticipation works. Has this woman never been excited?
You followed me to LA when I got a job here. And then you took a job at the same place so we could have lunch together.
I hope you guys were at least friends when that happened, because if not, you're describing a fucking crime. This man is a stalker. I need a tiny bit of elaboration. The criminals plan to threaten Kopech's girlfriend and her belly. She's pregnant.
Hang up the call,
911, what's your
or we
emergency?
execute your girlfriend.
The situation is pretty tense, and at parts it's doing its job pretty effectively. Like when it works, it works. The visuals, the dialogue, the acting, it can really place you in the scene.
Hello?
Now get up and lock it in the lost and found.
Take the use of the handheld camera in this scene. It's purposeful, the rough, shaky movements place you in the scene. It's not groundbreaking filmmaking, but it's compelling. It's interesting. You know, he's forced to replace his friend's coffee with an alcoholic one, or else he's dead.
I don't care what problems you have, you don't bring them here, all right? Let's go. Come on.
Did I mention that Hank from Breaking Bad is in this? Holy shit.
Shoot him now or everyone dies.
See me sus lately.
Don't make me do this.
Almost like we have an imposter among us.
And when he spikes the coffee, a bunch of the characters can see through the trick, so you're forced to sit there as his co-workers villainize him. It's good character drama.
Why would you do that?
I know what you did. And I know why you did it.
To get a promotion?
I thought I met assholes before.
It's like surprisingly compelling for what I thought was almost certainly going to be action movie slop. Whenever Jason Bateman's character goes on rants about the younger generations being always on their phone, that's when Kopech listens to his surroundings and can triangulate his location.
Your generation is just so taken with the concept of authenticity that...
Like, the villain is revealing too much about his opinions, and the hero is using that to his advantage. That is great writing and great visual storytelling. It shows a character's observation skills. The only problem is, if I showed you too much of the dialogue, you would realize that it's really cringe, and it would be harder to sell you on this film being pretty good.
You will not take a bite unless you know it's the perfect hashtag real thing.
And Jason Bateman is really good when he's delivering the actually good lines.
You've never made waves before, Ethan. You're not going to start now. One bag for one life.
And then he's alright when he's delivering the bad ones.
Would you rather kill 250 people on a plane or 5,000 in an airport? That's the thing with numbers. They all get larger.
That's the thing with numbers. They all get larger. What the fuck? What does that mean? That is such an embarrassingly shit line to put in a screenplay.
You could kill 250 people?
Mm-hmm.
As Michael was becoming more selfish, his father was choosing a more pious path.
The movie's a bit like Trap, the M. Night Shyamalan movie where the serial killer has to escape a concert, which I'll probably make a video on at some point because it's really good. There's just something so satisfying about a character using their wits to escape a situation that activates my ape brain. The reveal of the nerve agent is good and makes good use of cross-cutting. The news article coming up on the screen is kind of cringe. She also uses Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia that anyone can edit. Just kind of a funny way to exposit to an audience. But it turns out that the stuff is a nerve agent called Novichok 7. It'll shut down your organs and kill you to death.
Well, I thought you said you weren't a terrorist.
I'm not a terrorist killed for religious or political or social objectives.
This is the point in which the movie falls apart. The villain begins to speak more. Like, it's even a thing where he seems like he's trying to rationalize it.
I'm just the one that makes sure it gets done.
Yeah, he decides to take a piss during this scene, so enjoy that.
And I get paid.
Like, the guy is a terrorist. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but doing a mass murder for money is a political act. Preferring money over human lives is an expression of your politics. Like, by your own definition, you're a terrorist.
There are kids on that flight.
Yeah. People paying me want to send a message.
Where sometimes his lines feel like manipulation.
And I gave you some pretty simple rules. You got cute, I'd say you killed him.
These ones seem like a screenwriter trying to write the evilest man they can think of.
You could kill 250 people? No.
Someone who treats crime like a business. Like, this type of villain can be interesting. I mean, Breaking Bad's two biggest villains are those archetypes.
I'm not some cartoon villain. I'm just a regular guy like you.
But this villain is just so inconsistently written.
I was patient with you because I thought I liked you.
At this point, it's not like his plan is falling apart. There's some hiccups, but nothing major. But he's already started physically throwing people. It's just bad characterization. Jason Bateman also is not a physically imposing guy, which isn't abnormal. I'm not a physically imposing guy either. He seems like a villain that would be more comfortable on the right side of a gun, not a brawler. The first hour tricks you into thinking this might be something interesting and coherent, but that's not very interesting for me to make content, so I'm glad that the next 45 minutes of the film is Taron Egerton running around. Just sprinting constantly. There's two sprinting scenes back to back.
Clock's ticking, so go. Take the gun, maybe run.
Using annoying ass cross-cutting. It's interesting the first time you do it, not twice in a fucking row. Once he starts sprinting, you know that the movie turns from something with a point to an action vehicle. There's nothing inherently wrong with action vehicles, but it's shit. It's just really bad. Why has this just become a shit Marvel movie? Oh right, Black Adam. It's just kind of a shit one take. Really visually noisy. You see, the joke of the scene is that it's a fast-paced action scene, but with a happy Christmas song in the background. It's pretty freaking crazy. I know it's not supposed to be funny, but like, what the fuck is he doing? Then the rest of the movie is just shit action. The reason this movie was so interesting was because it was people talking, engaging with each other. These scenes could have been cool in a movie filled with this stuff, but it's just such a tonal shift for what amounts to vaguely interesting action in a movie where you want to see characters actually solve problems with their brain. This guy, who, yes, is from Army of the Dead. Army of the the dead guy is a smart and methodical computery man. He's a guy in the chair type guy. They point a fucking sniper dot at Kopech's girlfriend. But like, do airports not have security cameras? There's nobody watching this TSA member who is constantly running on the cameras.
So you're just walking away?
There's nobody looking at this domestic dispute. Okay, let's ignore that. Instead of shooting her in the head, he decides to chase her down with a handgun. Like, did they write themselves so thoroughly into a corner that they couldn't find a way to kill this guy off? Like, what is the deal with this film and just giving up on characterizing the villains?
Get out of the way!
This is intense. Ethan needs to disarm the nerve agent, and his only form of transportation is his own damn legs. Never mind. So through plot bullshit, Jason Bateman gets on the plane with the nerve agent. It's a little weird. Initially I wondered if he wasn't a terrorist, then why is he willing to die in the plane? But then he said he was going to parachute out.
I'm gonna be busy setting up my parachute and my bomb.
So it makes me wonder even more why he killed those guys at the start. And then after he did, why did he leave the money he gave them? He burnt a big bag of money. You know, if your villain basically has one coherent motive, money, then why would he be introduced as a heartless killer who doesn't care about money?
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
And then the villain dies because he looks away from a guy who has tried to kill him, who has at all points actively deceived him, and has never obeyed any of his commands. And then you get to watch as he slowly suffocates to death and his skin melts off. I understand he's a terrorist who wants to kill 250 people, including a baby. They make sure to shove that in right at the end. But he's not like a compellingly dislikable villain. Nothing he does seems very personal.
If it's any consolation, you were not my first choice. You're not where you're supposed to be today, but that is okay.
So this death is just incredibly graphic for a run-of-the-mill blockbuster action film? So yeah, Carry On is a bad movie that compelled me so due to its beginning as a good movie. Like, it is so crazy that this could have probably been a very good movie if it just had a little more time in the oven. It's a very human movie, in the sense that it's surprisingly compelling, incredibly wasteful, and all around pointless to discuss in a context outside of how close it could have been to becoming something worthwhile. Maybe that's projection. Merry Christmas. I'm not getting this out on time, but goodbye.